You're listening to Two Guys Talking Wine with Michael Pincus and André Prue.
Michael.
André, I know that you're very disappointed in our guest. One of them, anyway.
I am a little disappointed. I had this whole bit planned out, and
she didn't play along.
No, not even close. I asked her if she listened to the podcast. She said sometimes.
But nobody listens to the opening.
Everyone listens to the opening.
No, this is not the point. It's because I'm just sticking to the script.
Oh, she's looking.
You told me not to talk at all.
I didn't say that. I said talk when spoken to.
Oh my God, Michael!
And so André said Ophelia, and you went, yeah. So she had her own kind of opening. If you think
probably
about it.
Yes.
Do you want to try it again with her and see what happens?
All right, let's try it. Ophelia,
Andrew, hi.
Okay, that's a little bit better, but not quite.
It's close. We're gonna go with it. So, André, we're gonna dip right into this thing, because you brought along. First of all, we have a special guest, obviously Ophelia.
Yes, introduce
all the way from Italy. Would you like to tell us a little bit about yourself, what you do?
Yes, my name is Ophelia. I'm a brand curator.
Okay.
I work with food and wine brands to positionate them, especially Italian brands.
And Ophelia and I went to a place called Alois Lageder, and they have an event called Summa, and we got some really great audio clips while we were there, and we were going to play a bunch of these interviews as we go through the rest of this year. Because
so you didn't actually go to Champagne.
No.
So you did this interview in Italy.
Yeah.
So you did an interview in Italy about Champagne.
Correct. Yes. About a champagne producer. Yeah.
It's a good champagne producer.
It's a good champagne producer. Oh, I love that sound. Oh, I love that sound.
That's so obnoxious. It completely makes sense that you would like that.
I love that. Yes, so we spoke to... Oh.
It's the equivalent of like just ripping a big fart in a big restaurant, a quiet restaurant.
And you've done that many a time, I am sure.
No.
Andre's done it for sure.
No.
André, you've left a stench in some of the most best...
but I let my fart slip in restaurants just like I open a bottle of champagne silently.
Yeah, well, you know what?
Okay, apologies to everyone listening to this because we have been trying really hard to be better behaved, and that was a little gross.
So, last time we talked champagne, we talked about a little teeny little house, Henri Giraud, that you really love.
Yes.
And so now... I'm going to raise the ante to a larger house. Let's let our interview subject tell you who he is.
So, my name is Ronny. I'm working for Champagne Billecart-Salmon. I'm responsible for the German, for the Austrian, and for the Liechtenstein markets. So, I'm the director for the 3 markets, working for Billecart since 2 years.
That's Ronny. Obviously a German accent. So, a German working for the French in Italy. Y'all with me now? It's multi-ethnic as we go. So we were at Summa, and Summa. You were the one who, Ophelia. You were the one who really turned me on to Summa. Tell us a little bit about what Summa is.
Summa is one of the most interesting festivals in Italy, and generally it will be run close to Vinitaly. So everybody wants to go there because it's like 2 days where you find the best like importer, distributor, and peculiar producer. When I say peculiar, that like large numbers, but or some of them are very good identity and very interested on the market. And there are at least 2,000 people per weekend. There are workshops. And everything is held by the family Lageder, and they're very good at doing this.
Yeah, so it's held at Alois Lageder in Alto Adige. And it's at their winery, beautiful property. You basically they have 2 main areas, which is the big place that they have, and then there's a smaller place that they have across. Literally, you walk through the town, and you end up at the second location.
Which town?
Which town is this? I want to call it Lagaderville, but I'm sure I'm wrong.
No, you're wrong. Of course.
but like they almost like own the whole town. So it's
I need to find
it's
it.
pretty interesting. And
No, I'll make sure I put a link in the show link about the festival and how to get to there. But I mean, I guess just sort of to clarify, like it's not like a natural wine festival where people are specific, but like how are the wineries that attend curated? Like who gets invited? How do you decide what goes to that?
There are all friends of the family. There's like a long list.
Love it.
There are no more than 150 or 180 producers.
Love it.
And that each year they decide if they can be reconfirmed or there is a kind of rotation. And yes, you're right, it's not natural, but it is a kind of a natural oriented. But all the wines are very clean and all the wines are very, with a lot of harvest.
it's all,
Yeah,
so,
it's like a lot of experience in there.
so we do have a so we don't bury the complete lead. We do have an interview with Lageder, two of the Lageder family, coming up.
You're really just like saying that because you're actually saying like the French version of a alligator, right? Lageder.
Lageder, yeah.
Yeah, that's what you're saying in your head?
It's the thing you drive, right, in the field.
Oh my God!
Lageder?
Yeah. Yep, I gotcha.
So, you know what? Let's get back to Ronny, and he's going to tell us a little bit about Billecart-Salmon.
So we go back to 1818. That was the foundation of the house when Elisabeth Salmon get married to Nicolas François. So they both are local guys from the Champagne. They fell in love and they decided to create a Champagne house. And the third guy in the beginning of the house was Louis Salmon, which was the brother of Elisabeth. And in 2018, when the house turned 200 years, we started to work off the chronicles of the house. And until then, in the family history, Louis was he was the brother of Elisabeth, but he was the lazy guy. So that was what we have been thinking of. And in 2018, we worked off the chronicles, or somebody did for us, and he found out that Louis Salmon was in fact the first chef de cave and the first onologue of the house. So the family had to rethink about Louis, and they now gave the Blanc de Blanc Prestige Cuvée the name of Louis Salmon. The Nicolas François is our assemblage Prestige, and Elisabeth Salmon is the Prestige Rosé. And until 2004, the Prestige Blanc de Blanc had no name. And in 2008, after they found out that Louis was the first onologue, they said, we have to get the guy back on the family table. So we have now the Louis Salmon Prestige Blanc de Blanc as well.
So I absolutely love that story. You know, everybody just figures that they had this lazy brother who was doing nothing. It turns out he's probably the hardest working guy in show business, so to speak.
Yeah, and he did mention in passing the rosé that we talked about in last week's episode as well. So that was interesting as well.
So yeah, I really love that story about the lazy brother, and then they really have to put him, well, he says, back on the table, meaning putting him onto a bottle to show that they actually do have respect for him. So I know that Ophelia, when you heard that, you were laughing about the lazy brother. Probably when we did the interview, but
I mean, it's hard to not laugh about the lazy brother.
The lazy brother always gets it. So Billecart in their seventh generation, as he said, and each generation has to put a stamp on the winery. You can't just carry on like everybody else. So Ronny tells us what this new generation is doing.
Well, and we are now in the seventh generation. So we are one of the last houses which is family owned, family run in the Champagne. And Mathieu Roland-Billecart, who is now in charge, our CEO, is the seventh generation. Every generation wants to leave his mark. For Mathieu, it was we increased the time on the lease for the Champagne. We started a bit of working with some oak, with some large oak, with a bit of the used barricks as well for the base wines. We took down the SO2 level. So in fact, Mathieu is, what he's saying is, well, if I pass the house on to the eighth generation, it's not going to increase in quantity of bottles. It's going to increase in quality. And we are really focusing on high-class base wines because we want to work with gastronomy. We want to work with food together, even with some nice cigars. We have a very nice blend, which is called Sous-Bois, but the base wine is aged under oak. So that's why it's called Sous-Bois. And it's fantastic with a nice cigar as well. So we're really looking for savoir-vivre in the bottle and compare with food, with people who enjoy living, good food, good wines, and that's what Billecart is looking for, yeah.
There's a lot of stuff that he said in there that I thought was interesting, and it's always a little bit sad, and it's taken a bit for me to come to this point when we talk about businesses that aren't family run anymore. Because when push comes to shove, wine is still a luxury product. And I think we've seen a lot of families pushed out thanks to, the move of globalization. Champagne's a worldwide brand. But, the problem that you have when the family's no longer calling the shots and you have accountants calling the shots is you try to shift your style to match what the spreadsheet tells you what your clients are as opposed to what your visceral thing is. And this is something, I spent a little bit of time wrestling with ADX as well, as if I can grow that brand big enough and Artera or Andrew Peller came and knocked on my door and offered me, let's be real, like $150,000 payout to buy the company, would I do that? Or would I want to cede control of the company? So I don't think so. And I think, especially after doing Henry Giroux last week, that there might be some chickens coming to roost in Champagne in the next 10 to 15 years. I've been saying that, the day of reckoning's coming to Napa Valley, and it's starting to happen now. I think Champagne's next.
Champagne, interesting. I wouldn't have.
Well, and Bordeaux as well. I think all the French wineries, like the French wine industry, that turned its back on its traditional customers, chasing the easy money, chasing the Chinese market. And I think with Champagne, it's not necessarily the Chinese market; it's chasing a global market, buying up properties. And we know that there's other Champagne houses that are changing hands. I tried to get an appointment at Mercier because it's a large winery, and it used to be a LVMH brand, and they offloaded it. I don't know who they offloaded it to because it had just happened. No one knew who I could speak with at Mercier to get the appointment, but Champagne houses are changing hands right now, and it's because the printer is out of ink. You can't print the money there anymore.
Well, I think that's interesting, and I think Ronnie starts to talk about what's happening in Champagne as we go through this interview, and so I'm going to leave that there for a moment. We'll sit it on the table, just like we have this wonderful bottle of Le Reserve. Which is the bottle that Lifford helped us get into the country, straight from France, because you can't just get a bottle sent to you.
Another story for another time. You and I are working on a bigger project.
So, we have three of us around the table. We're all tasting this Le Reserve from Billecart-Salmon. I'll start with our Italian guest. What do you think of this champagne?
I love it.
Very Franciacorta, or
come on, Michael. Get your head out of your ass. It's not even funny.
It's not even funny. I agree with André. No, I love it, and I agree with Ronny when he says that it's he said it was like a savoir vivre and lifestyle in a bottle.
Yes.
This is the kind of thing that he had the feeling like this is dry. That's the bubble. It's really joyful. And it's really interesting.
What I really want to know is, because he talked there about they were putting some of the wines more in oak. Does everybody feel the oak in this wine? Okay.
No, especially we're benchmarking this against Henry Giroux that you and I tasted together like 2-3 weeks ago. And that's a winery that prides itself on the oak presence, and I think masterfully so. I've got in this corner a bottle of Boulanger as well. I'm unapologetic about my love of oak on Champagne. If I were tasting this blind with Ronnie, there's no way I would guess there was oak on this.
No, there's a nice freshness to it. There's a liveliness. There's still that biscuitiness.
But nice texture on the back. It's a little bit broader. I would have guessed that there's Pinot Noir. I wouldn't have guessed that there was oak.
And Meunier and all the rest in here. Now, Ophelia was obviously part of this interview at Summa, and she did ask Ronnie about what he ended up calling alcohol bashing. And it's interesting to hear what Champagne thinks its way through this time period is. As we know, not a lot of people are drinking wine. Alcohol consumption and wine consumption is going down. And this is what Ronnie says, how Champagne gets through that.
the WHO study, which is copied all around the planet, and which is massive effect on the US market because people are really more in healthy life, living forever for nothing. Especially if you go out and have lunch and you look, you can't see people having a glass of wine for lunch anymore. Yeah. Well, what we're having already is an overproduction of wine, global wise. Yeah, the demand is not as high as it used to be in the 90s. But even in France, in Belgium, in Scandinavia, UK as well, of course, the demand go down in Japan as well. So happy we are. We are producing champagne. It's no calories. It's low alcohol. Of course, we are a cool climate region. So, in fact, maybe we are on top of the time for what we are producing. I think a bottle of champagne is still lifestyle in the bottle. Huh? And we are happy to have a product which is really a lifestyle product. Yeah. And lucky we are as well. We are in a region where the producer working close together and understand to make champagne as a brand mark first. And then every house is producing a house style. Consumer is choosing a house style, but we are all working together to work on this brand. We are producing a lifestyle product. We are not producing alcohol.
I agree with them. But yeah, especially when he was talking about the alcohol bashing and how they treat champagne, because in effect, the idea that you lower the alcohol, it's a very good thing also for the next generation. I mean, for the Z generation, because they don't drink that much. So it's a way to be more approachable, and it's also the thing when it was like saying in a funny way, there are no calories.
Yeah.
Because everybody is like this kind of being healthy. Yes. You think that champagne is not like even a wine category. I mean, for the most part of the people.
I don't know. For me, you lose me especially as someone who works in marketing. As soon as you put the word healthy and wine in the same sentence, you're lying to your customers. Wine is not a healthy product. It's part of the diet, and the best way to enjoy wine is with moderation. And you know what? It is one of the things you can preach is with lower alcohol, you can maybe have a little bit more than you would with a bottle of Napa Valley Cabernet Sauvignon because of less alcohol. You can enjoy it without impairing yourself. But I don't know. I do find it interesting that it's sort of a chicken and egg situation here. But the problem I have when people talk about this alcohol bashing is they talk about alcohol as a whole category where I don't know if that's completely the case. Like, I think if you're a large producer, you have a lot more stuff to worry about than if you're a niche producer like Henry Giraud or a small champagne house, right? I mean, obviously there's reason for concern. There's a canary in the coal mine, but we are starting to see studies coming out to see that alcohol consumption is resuming, like not increasing, but this decline is starting to drop off.
Well, the interesting part, I laughed the hardest when he said, people are drinking less and eating more healthy, but living for nothing. And it was kind of an interesting little thought because
how old was Ronny?
Ronny had to be middle aged, did he not?
Older than me?
Yes.
Older than you?
No, I believe not. Something like around 50.
Maybe in between that?
Yeah, so my age. So
yeah, your age, yes, around 50.
I mean, it is one of those things, though. Like, I do think it's a misnomer. Like, when you take a look at what Gen Z, and frankly, okay, I'm an elder millennial. I'm closer to Gen X than I am to Gen Z. But, like, with regard to millennials, it's the thing people forget. Like, we've been shit on by the media for years about being the me generation and the experience generation. I'm sorry, the reality is, and I mean, Michael, you've seen it firsthand. Now that I've started making more money, I'm drinking less, but I'm drinking better.
Correct, and that's I think where champagne comes into it.
100%.
Right? Yes. So more people are going. If they're gonna have that evening, they're gonna want to drink champagne.
Yeah, we're recording this on a Tuesday night, and this is like a very nice Tuesday night.
Yeah, this is a lovely bottle of champagne. Andre, you're usually the one with the computer in front of you. I don't know. What this bottle costs. I'm probably going to go in the $60-$70 range here, probably higher than that. This is an experience wine, and if that's what you're choosing to spend your money on, for the experience of this one bottle for the week, I think that's not a bad experience at all.
Yeah, last time it rolled through the LCBO, it was $75.
Okay, so I wasn't that far. Did I said 60 to 70?
Yeah, you were good. You were good.
That was pretty good. All right, so now, of course, we're always talking, when you're talking in the wine world, because you're talking anything agriculture, you're talking about climate change. And, if you don't bring it up with a producer in wine, you're just not doing your job.
I mean, what would the wine business be if you only had one thing to worry about? If it's not just people aren't buying your product, it's how do you get your product made, because Mother Nature might hail all over your vineyards.
So, of course, I had to ask him how climate change is affecting Champagne.
So, yeah, it's getting warmer global-wise. The variation of the vintage ups is you can't produce wine like our grandfathers did, 9 to 5, or vintage the same way. You have to work more on the canopy, on the vintage. Look how you do with the canopy management. Is it a warm vintage? Is it a cooler vintage? Is it rainy? Are we having problems with Peronospora, having problems with botrytis? And of course it's getting warmer. So what we are doing is we started to try not to do malolactic fermentation as was in general in the past with producing champagne. So you do a second fermentation on the base wine to get down the acidic level. So we try not to do this anymore, to keep every freshness, any hit of acidity the nature is giving us, and keep it in the bottle. So we'll really try to work with that. We are far away from producing still wine in Champagne. Yeah, some magazines are writing, Champagne is going to be the next Burgundy. No. We're not going to do still Pinot Noir, still Chardonnay.
André, still Chardonnay in...
Listen, I tasted some still Pinot Noir and Chardonnay while I was in Champagne, and some people were very proud of them, and trust me, that they're not there yet.
I'm gonna have you go on to the next clip because it all blends in.
We are doing Côte de Champenois Rouge as well, but not for selling it as still wine. We need it for the production of our pink champagne. So it's a high-class product. It's very, very interesting. I'm luckily to able to taste it in the winery. And, well, you easily can sell it as a high-class still red wine. But to be honest, in the end of the day, it's too expensive to be comparable on the market. And I don't think the demand is there for, well, it's interesting for some sommeliers, for some freaks having it, tasting it. But I don't think that the consumption people are really looking for a still glass of champagne.
I like Ronny. I know there's sommeliers that listen to this podcast, and we've had sommeliers on this podcast, but I'm starting to feel more and more, especially in Toronto, that a large number of sommeliers are out of touch with what the general public actually wants to drink, because they are so self-righteous, looking for the next weird bottle of crap to put on their wine list and try to elevate themselves as some sort of weird
Pioneer.
genius. I'm sorry, sommeliers. Your job is to connect people with a delicious bottle of wine that they want to drink. It's not for you to indoctrinate the audience with what you think is good. And we have a generation of sommeliers in Toronto that have ruined a generation of palates who are looking to drink only faulty wines.
I've thought that for a while. You and I have discussed it on the podcast, that orange wine is one of those things. For every good orange wine I've tasted probably 25 that I couldn't put.
Or even just the natural wine in general, where it's just like, let's sprinkle pixie dust in the barrel and ignore it. That's not brilliant winemaking. That's inattentive winemaking.
What's going on in Italy when it comes to, orange wines and funky natural wines, the funky hippie juice, as I called it while I was there?
Well, you stole that from me.
Yeah, I did, and I started using it, and I think it's going around Italy now. Ophelia has a friend, Fabrizio, who I told that to, and I think he's now used it a lot. So
funky.
So, and the other thing that's also was a big issue in Italy while I was there was the introduction of no alcohol wine, which was becoming a big problem. So I hate to dump that on your lap.
Okay, to be fair, you said problem in air quotes,
yeah,
too.
I did put a problem. So which one would you like to tackle? You don't have to tackle all three. what is the idea? Like, is orange wine a big thing in Italy right now?
Okay, I'm not tackling the orange wine.
Okay.
Okay, we'll give you the answer for all three.
Okay. Oh,
first,
all right. Okay.
the non-alcohol, there are two kind of non-alcohol. One is the dealcoholate, that just a big company can tackle that. And it's not an Italian problem. The Italy is very late in this. The first one was approaching in is France, my darling. And it is LMH, Louis Vuitton. They started the first non-champagne. So if you think about that, I know France has to be a kind of pioneer, just given like the idea how to make wines, they started. Means that they know how the market is going to. I mean, the vision of the future that they have. So Italy is like one of the last wheel about this decision because we are very, very traditionalist. But there are some kind of initiative about a verjuice. A verjuice, which is like a juice it's going to be fermented, not like kombucha. So you go like all the production, but you just have part of it. And you have zero alcohol. But it's not like doing a de-alcoholate, which is like to have a coffee, with
decaffeinated coffee.
Decaffeinated coffee. So it's another thing. Orange wine was a trend for a period, and now it's not that much, but there are some very interesting producers that making it for a long time. And there are very, very good company and producer that make natural wine, but they don't declare it. So you don't find it on the label. And when you drink it, you say, wow, this is good. And then you discover it like later. So when you're talking about the funky one, all this kind of thing, the first question, and maybe the main important question you have to pose to yourself is, how many harvests have you done so far? And how young are you, producer? Because, if you're like at the first, harvesting, and then you go to second, and then you need...
Well,
like
it's also remembering that, quite often if your brand has a marketing engine behind it, it may not necessarily be the best. It's certainly not going to be a craft product. If you see if your wine is on a billboard, if your wine is on a bus stop, if your wine's in the back of the Air Canada or the Lufthansa magazine, chances are it's not a family-run farming business. It's a corporation.
Well, I remember going to Slow Wine in Bologna, and you're correct. You're 100% correct on the guys that are all about telling you how natural their wines are. Not so good. The people who are really quiet about it, and you get to their booth and you go, I've heard of this.
How did
wine.
we get here? Wait. How did we get here? We're talking about champagne right now.
I know, but I just wanted to finish.
You came with 3 questions.
I did come with 3 questions for
you put them in the corner.
Yeah. So, but what I'm saying is that, but you go up to a booth and you go, oh, I know this company. I didn't know they were a slow wine producer. I didn't know they were a natural wine producer. And their wines as being really good. I think Boscarelli was at one of the slow wine
Xavier Amaro,
correct.
Catherine Pierre Breton,
not guys that scream natural.
Lapierre.
And I think if you're making good wine, you don't have to scream it. You just you can quietly tell people, and your wine speaks for itself. And I think
100%. All right, so let's keep this moving along.
So what we have now is. We asked about the effect of the champagne market outside of lower consumption and climate change. So anyway, just play this clip.
As everything is getting more expensive. I don't think champagne is going to get cheaper. In fact, it should be more expensive because production cost is increasing, minimum wage is increasing, bottles more expensive, paper is getting more expensive. So in fact, prices should increase much more as it did. The market is not mirroring that in the moment. And we see there's still a high demand on champagne, but maybe not on the prestige cuvées. People who drink champagne love to drink champagne as well, but maybe it's not the high-end prestige cuvées. It's more on the base in the moment. So maybe that's the thing to rethink, getting the production of prestige cuvées a bit lower and focusing more on the non-vintage products.
The thing I love is, and let this be, I think, a good lesson to anyone who's running a business. Let me just share a story about Chaton, the bakery that I co-own with my wife in downtown Hamilton. I don't know if you guys have noticed this, but the price of chocolate has doubled in the past year. And we use high-end chocolate in all of our pastries. we had to increase the price of our pain au chocolat. And what my wife did was she went to Instagram, which is our main marketing stream, and posted a post being like, hey, we have to raise the cost of a croissant by pain au chocolat by 25 cents because the cost of chocolate doubled. Now, the point I'm making there is, if you're talking and you're explaining why something costs what it costs, especially when you're talking to millennials, the experienced generation, they're going to be more willing to pay for it than if you build a piece of crap, big brick, stone building on Niagara Stone Road and expect people to show up and shell out $150 a bottle without explaining what you've done to make a bottle of wine worth $150 in Ontario. There, I got a couple of digs in there, a good moral of the story, and saying that, you know what, I'm buying what Ronnie's selling. Like, the viticulture is getting more expensive thanks to climate change and what's going on. The marketing channels are getting more challenging as consumption is going down. It's a harder time to reach the market, and it's expensive to make champagne. It takes a lot of real estate to do that.
And what he's talking about is that, you know what, they're probably going to diminish the high-end wines and start making more of the I don't want to call low-end, because low-end is not the right word for champagne.
Entry level. I mean, stuff that takes less time, stuff that take, because it. When you buy a bottle of like the Henry Giraud Argonne, like, it's a single barrel with base and reserve wines that they've been working on for well over a decade. Trust me, when you have a barrel sitting in your facility with reserve wine in it, you have to pay for the power to make sure your temperature control is in the winery. You have to make sure you're paying for the staff to keep it clean. And you amortize that, the cost of maintaining a single barrel. That explains why a bottle of this wine costs 300-400 euros a bottle.
Yep, very much so. Do you have anything else to add before we throw on to my usual question?
No.
What is your usual question? I think your usual question is usually about champagne flutes or some nonsense.
No. This time it's and I always end an interview this way, is about the wine that we would most, you know, what I said to Ronnie, what wine you come to? I go to your house. You want to, you know, impress me the most. What wine are you going to pour for me? And he took this to an extreme that I just didn't expect.
Put a pistol and a trigger on me and say, you can choose one bottle now, and after that I kill you anyway. It's going to be now and today, it's going to be a bottle of 2009 Louis Salmon, which is our Prestige Blanc de Blanc, which is drinking fantastic right in the moment. 2009 was a very mellow, very rich vintage. We have 12 on the market as well. 13 is coming this year, but 09 Louis Salmon is drinking fantastic in the moment. This is my last sip of my life. After you pull the trigger, it's going to be 09 Louis Salmon. And if you're nice and if you make it quick, I'm going to share a glass with you.
It's amazing that he took it to extreme that I was putting a gun to his head. I didn't. I just said, what are you going to share with me when I walk through the door?
I use that expression sometimes too, as macabre as it is.
But he was like, wow.
And then we asked, and it was funny because we asked him, what would be the bottle if it would be the Gen Z drinking it? And does it answer what you just asked?
Absolutely, he answered it.
Yeah.
It's going to be our Blanc de Blanc non-vintage, because it's very bone dry, very elegant, very mineral, very lean, very fresh. So I think it's really on top of the current market. And if I look out, birds are singing, sky is blue. There's nothing better than having a nice bottle of dry Blanc de Blanc champagne in the pool today.
I thought it was interesting how he chose, you know, for his last wine would be something from 09, something prestige, something. And then for Gen Z, he went, this is what they would like. And he knew right off the bat.
But he painted the picture, though. Like, he painted the pool, the blue skies. Like, he painted the experience, right? Understanding that the generation... Like, this is... Like, yeah. You need to be paying attention to... Yeah,
the language was different and the way to approach it. And there's just...
It felt genuine, too.
Yes, of course. And I found anyway a common ground with any kind of wine for Gen Z, which is freshness. Everything is like,
which I found very interesting. It didn't take him any more time. There was no pause. He knew exactly what Gen Z was, and he knew exactly what he wanted. He knows the portfolio, and I thank Ronnie for his time.
Yeah, that was a great interview. You packed a lot in 10 minutes, guys.
And I'd also like to thank Lifford for getting the wine in for us. So a big thank you to both of them. Yes. And Ophelia, how do people find you? At home probably, but I mean,
follow me.
do you have
this
an
kind of
Instagram
thing.
account that you would like to plug?
Oh, there is my Instagram account, Ophelia Biancaneve, like a Snow White,
I
but
will
in
put it
Italian.
in the show notes so
Okay,
people
great.
can
Thank you
find
very
it.
much. So you can follow
Yeah.
Ophelia there. Andre?
I'm André Wine Review on everything.
On everything.
That's very
You know where to find
enthusiastic. Really enthusiastic.
Support this podcast, patreon.com/2guys talking wine.
Very, very much so. We appreciate that. It's nice that Billecart supported us and Lifford supported us. Put a hand in your pocket and support us too. I'm Michael Pincus of michaelpincuswinereview.com. You can find me on social media as The Grape Guy. Again, thank you to everybody who participated in this podcast to get us this wine so that we can drink something really nice on a Tuesday. Good night.
Thanks for listening. Please subscribe to Two Guys Talking Wine on iTunes.
Two Guys Talking Wine is produced by Adam Duran and Ken Little.